Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we're gonna talk about cost of living in Albania. And here are the factors we will cover about the cost of living in Albania. Firstly, we're gonna talk a little bit about the real estate prices in Albania. Then we're gonna move to groceries. After groceries, we're gonna talk about going out and services in Albania, followed by transportation infrastructure and prices in the country. Then another very important aspect, which is salaries in Albania, and another even more important aspect, which is cost of staying in Albania if you're coming independently to the country. So that would be residence permits, ongoing maintenance costs like accountant, everything related to moving to Albania and renewing your residence permit in the country. The last aspect will be healthcare in Albania. And finally, my personal verdict regarding the cost of living in the country. And before we start the usual talk, you already know it. If you want to travel, move or invest abroad, hit the like button, check our other videos, and most importantly, book a consultation call with me. The link is in the description. Let's plan your immigration strategy together. And even more importantly than the most important thing, subscribe! Let's start with the real estate market in Albania. The most significant cost you should consider when moving to a country is the cost of real estate, and Albania is no different. Albania is still the cheapest place to live if you want to live on the coast of the Adriatic Sea or the Ionian Sea. It beats with a safe margin its northern neighbor Montenegro and its southern neighbor Greece. Tirana, on the other hand, is comparable to some other capitals in the Balkans. The Albanian diaspora is one of the several driving factors forcing prices up in the country. More recently, a new wave of expats composed of retirees and remote workers are also pushing the prices up in the country. The coast of Albania still has many real estate opportunities, which I consider underpriced. If we take the example of Saranda and Vlora, you can still find decent apartments with prices even below 1,000 euros per square meter. In Montenegro, the northern neighbor of Albania, it is very difficult to find an apartment at these price points in coastal cities. If we go even further north, in Croatia, even 2,000 euros per square meter in towns on the seaside with a good infrastructure is something quite hard to find. In some cities, it is even impossible. You can check real estate prices in meryep.al, which translates to give take in Albanian. And it is the largest web portal in Albania for buying and selling all kinds of things, including properties. The next topic is groceries in Albania. Groceries in Albania are moderately priced, but if we consider the local purchasing power, they are definitely not cheap. International products like Coca-Cola, some toothpaste or similar stuff we have virtually the same price in Albania as in all other countries in the region. If you like to buy local produce, Albania might be an excellent choice. Farmers' markets are the places in which you can definitely find the lowest price for groceries in Albania. There are some international supermarket chains operating in the country. We can mention two examples here. One is Conad from Italy and the other is Spar, which is a Dutch multinational present in 48 countries. In my opinion, Spar is cheaper than Conad. Now let's talk about going out and paying for services in the country. Going out and services in Albania are usually cheaper than in most countries in Western Europe and oftentimes even cheaper than countries in Central Europe. Since salaries in Albania are considerably lower than in Western Europe, any price that includes a service is almost always lower than in Western Europe. The Italian culture has a strong influence in Albania, and that reflects in many aspects of daily life in the country. One of the most evident influences is the coffee culture, which is quite heavy in Albania. Walking around Tirana on any day of the week or on the weekend, you will see plenty of people hanging out and even doing business in cafes. Regarding prices, they tend to depend on how posh the place is, but in all cases cheaper than in Western Europe. Another important aspect is that Albania lacks a number of multinationals that you'll see almost everywhere else in Europe. For example, there is not a single McDonald's in the whole country. The next topic is transportation. Transportation infrastructure in Albania is not excellent, but it is improving significantly in the last few years. Just like in places such as Kosovo, Montenegro, and even in Greece and Croatia to a certain extent, the mountainous terrain of Albania makes infrastructure investments to be rather pricey. In the last couple of decades, Albania has benefited from heavy investments from EU funds, and some roads in the country are actually quite good. The road from Tirana to Pristina is quite nice and offers excellent views. The road from Podgorica in Montenegro to Tirana is already not so amazing. Price-wise, buses and vans are quite inexpensive in Albania. Taxis tend to be a bit more expensive, and just like McDonald's, there is no Uber in Albania. Now let's talk salaries, something which is quite important. Salaries in Albania are well below European standards and way below North American standards. Now pay attention to me, it is definitely not a good investment to move to Albania if you are looking for a job, especially if you want a well-paying job. The average salary in Tirana is somewhere between 400 and 450 euros per month. On the coast and during the season, there are some interesting job offers during summer, but salaries, just like in Tirana, are not particularly attractive. On the other hand, if your income does not depend on Albanian sources, the country can be a real paradise. So in my opinion, if you are a retiree or if you are a remote worker, Albania might be the place for you. But if you're just looking for a job in Albania, I would avoid that. Now let's talk about the cost of staying in Albania. That involves the price you pay to get a residence permit in case you are a freelancer or working for a company abroad or a retiree or a businessman. The Albanian immigration law is changing, and I do believe it will become more flexible and that foreigners will soon have more options to stay in the country. For example, retirees still do not have a specific class of residence permits in Albania, but I believe this will soon change as laws are being discussed. If you want to stay in Albania now as an independent person without looking for a job or getting married to an Albanian, the most cost-effective option is starting a sole proprietorship company. The opening procedure is relatively simple, fast and inexpensive. Once you have your company in Albania, you do not need to hire anyone to stay, but you will still have some ongoing costs. You will need an accountant and you will need to pay mandatory social contributions, which at the moment are at around 80 euros per month. An accountant you can probably get for 50 to 70 euros per month. Moving now to health insurance. All foreigners residing in Albania need to have health insurance in order to get and renew their residence permits in the country. There are public and private healthcare facilities in the country. If you don't want to wait for an appointment, probably going to a private clinic is going to be the fastest option. Unfortunately, the public healthcare in Albania has a pretty bad reputation. I have heard several Albanians complaining about the quality of the services. I hope this can improve as the country is becoming a more attractive destination. Now my final verdict, my final budget considerations regarding Albania. To sum up, it is possible to live in Albania with a budget of as low as 1,000 euros per month. As a matter of fact, many Albanians live on salaries much lower than that. But considering, at least for the start, we have to pay rent and get used to how things work in Albania, I would say a budget of 1,000 euros a month can guarantee you some decent level of comfort. Anything beyond 1,500 euros a month will provide you a great lifestyle in Albania for one person. That's it for today's video. If you would like to move to Albania, write a comment down below. If you don't want to move to Albania, write also a comment saying why you don't want to move to Albania and which country you prefer, you think is better than Albania. And as always, to finish the video, the usual talk once again. If you want to travel, move or invest abroad, hit the like button. Check our other videos, book a consultation call with me, the link is in the description. Let's plan your immigration strategy together in an unbiased way. And most importantly, subscribe! See you next time.